Hey there, Blazer fans. Thanks so much for joining us for another episode of the Blazer Insider. I'm Mark Ingram, Director of Athletics, and today we're joined by none other than former UAB great and now head coach of the men's basketball team, Coach Andy Kennedy. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Mark. How are you?
Yeah, doing really well. Thanks. How things been going there?
I don't like the former great. I still think I am great. I mean, I hadn't lost a game yet. This is like my honeymoon period. I'm great until we take an L. Everything's good. You know, I'm excited. This has been a surreal experience for us both under these difficult circumstances. But as we were talking prior to going on, we're starting to get our guys back on campus where we're going to be allowed to start some on-court work here soon. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, sure you are. And it's been great seeing them trickle back in. And I want to talk about them in just a minute. But I know that after you and I, we interviewed and made your formal announcement with a press conference in front of just 6 or 8 people. All
Press conference with no people. We're setting precedents left and right.
Yeah, we really are. But tell us about your staff. How did you put the staff together during the pandemic? And if you don't mind, share with everybody a little bit about the staff you put together.
Well, you and I both agree on this point, Mark. You're only as good as the people around you. So it was very, very important for me.
Yeah, that's why I hired you.
That's yet to be determined, I suppose. But I wanted to surround myself with guys not only did I know, but I knew that we're going to be able to be great additions to the Blazer athletic family. I started with Philip Pierce, an Alabama native from Montgomery. Played for Wimp Sanderson at the University of Alabama. I've known Philip since the 90s. I'm a little older than him, but he was at Alabama right when I was finishing up at UAB. He's had over 2 decades of experience as assistant coach in the SEC, first at Alabama with Mark Godfrey, and then with another good friend of mine, Mark Fox at Georgia. He's coming off being the director of recruitment for Clemson University under Brad Brownell. And so he's going to be a tremendous addition to a number of different areas. He knows the back roads of Alabama as well as anybody in this state, and he's really excited to be back in this state. And again, he's going to be a huge addition. I hired Ryan Cross. I've known Ryan Cross since my days as an assistant coach for Murray Bartow back in the mid '90s. I was an assistant here for Murray. Ryan Cross was a junior college head coach. We recruited a number of his players, Will Campbell being one, Paige Matarich, 2 guys in the 90s that were really good players. So I've known Ryan Cross for a number of years. I've always looked for an opportunity to hire him, and this provided me as such. He's been the associate head coach at Louisiana Monroe the last 8 years and done a tremendous job there. I then brought in Terry Parker. Terry Parker is a guy that I did not know as well. We had some mutual connections. He's an Atlanta native who's been an assistant at Indiana State the last 6 years. All 3 of those guys, Terry included, played on the collegiate level. And he's a guy that through his experience in the South at Atlanta, what he's been able to do on Greg Lansing's staff at Indiana State, he's going to be a great addition as well. So those are the 3 assistant coaches. I then brought over Sydney Ball as my director of operations. Sydney, a former Blazer, was a starting small forward on the last Sweet 16 team for UAB under Mike Anderson. Sydney has been an assistant at Samford the last few years, and I brought him back. He's gonna be tremendous, and he has such pride and love for this program. I kept Rob Williams in his current position, and I brought in Wilbur Allen, a guy who played for John Chaney at Temple, worked for me at Ole Miss. He's been an assistant coach at the Division I level at Appalachian State, and he's going to be an administrative help as well. Aaron Johnson, another great Blazer, is going to stay his second year in his graduate assistant spot, and we're looking forward to him interacting with our players. His knowledge and such is going to be very, very beneficial. So we're really excited about the guys that we have surrounding our kids in this program, and we're looking forward to getting started.
Yeah, I know you are, and you've been hard at work recruiting. Before we talk about recruiting and our players, I really am curious, and I know our fans are too. Have you and Sydney gone one-on-one yet?
No, you know what? It would, if I could get open, Mark, I still think I could make it, but it'd take a hell of a coach to get me open.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. My lateral quickness wasn't very good in 1988. It's damn sure not very good in 2020.
We can find a way to set a screen, I'm sure. All right, so talk about, we've got some great players. I know when you and I first met and I interviewed you, you said we want to win a championship, not just eventually, but year one. And you certainly have set us up with some great talent that this staff you just talked about, some great talent that they have brought in. Can you run through the newcomers that we can all look forward to seeing and tell us about those kids?
Yeah, absolutely. I played for the late, great Gene Bartow, obviously here, and I played for the late, great Jim Valvano at North Carolina State. And Jimmy V had a saying, there are no such things as levels of programs, there's levels of players. So I've been a head coach for 13 years, and I'm a lot smarter when my players are good.
Mm-hmm.
So we immediately, we inherited a situation, as you well know, where you walk in and the kids go home thinking they're going home for spring break, and they never come back. So I was dealing even with the guys that were returning. You know, you're having to try to develop some relationships with those guys and figure out what makes sense for everyone. Should they go? Should they stay? You know, what are they thinking amidst all of this tumultuous times? We were able to bring back 5 guys. Jalen Benjamin, who was on the all-freshman team for Conference USA, a player that I think's got tremendous future in this program. Tavian Loven. Tay was a borderline all-league player. I think he's got an opportunity to take that next step his junior season, the leading returning scorer. Tyreek Scott Grayson, along with Kasim Nicholson, 2 guys that were integral parts of last year's program. And then they had a kid sitting out in Kobe Jeffries. They brought him in Christmas. And he redshirted, but he's been in the program. The Blazers have not seen him, but at least he has some feel for the collegiate experience. Those 5 guys are returning, and then we brought in 8 newcomers. It started with Ronji Gordon, a young man that signed with the prior staff during the early signing period. He was the number 2 rated player in the state of Alabama from Montgomery. We immediately reached out to him, started re-recruiting him. We had some relationships built in with the people that are in his inner circle. So we were fortunate that he decided to stay with his commitment and be a part of our program. We then went out and signed 7 guys. We start with another freshman, maybe my favorite name on the staff. He may be my second favorite name except for yours, because I think yours is on my check. I think your name has on my check. But Tony has done it again. I mean, I'm hoping I can get a birth certificate where we get another T in there somewhere. He was the 3rd rated player in the state of Alabama from Huntsville. So last year's team had no Alabamians on it, which are a little bit surprising. So now we've brought in the number 2 and the number 3 rated player in this state. We then picked up a kid from Ackworth, Georgia, a kid named Terrell R., who was at Putnam Science, which won the prep school national championship. He's a guy that we think from day one at 6'7", about 210 pounds, he's going to be one of the most athletic guys on our team.
Wow.
We then went the route of the Vikings. I went through I'm kind of a UAB basketball historian, so I went through and I found out the one thing that we have never had here is a Norwegian. So
No more.
So what did I do? I said, hey, no program is complete without a Viking. So we went out and got Tobias Rutegard, who played at 2 of the best high school programs in the country. He is a U.S. citizen, which made it a lot easier to get him back amidst all this COVID.
Yep.
He played at Oak Hill Academy, and he played at Sunrise Christian Academy. He's a 6'7" kid who is really a deadly marksman, can really shoot the ball, and excited about him. So we brought those 4 freshmen in. We then said, well, we don't have a junior college kid, so we got to do that. We went and signed Simeon Kirkland at 6'9". Played it down in Florida at Southwest Florida Junior College, one of the best in the country. They had 8 guys go to the Division I route. Both sets of his grandparents are Birmingham natives, so it's like a coming home party for him. Tremendous kid from Ocala, Florida. We then went and signed 2 post-grads, 2 guys that I think from day one will be 2 of the best.
They're not just post-grads, Coach. These guys are fantastic, right?
Yeah, they're both all-league players at their other institution. Starts with Mike Ertl. He was the Sun Belt Conference Freshman of the Year. He was all-league as a sophomore, all-league as a junior. He, unlike you and I, did graduate. He's about 2 weeks away from graduation. So he did graduate in less than 4 years. Took me 5, and that was a push at the end.
Yeah.
But he got it done in about 3.5. He is a tremendous scorer. He's already scored over 1,300 points, can score at all 3 levels, play both guard positions. And then we brought in Quan Jackson from Georgia Southern, Tallahassee native, also a 2-time All-Sun Belt Conference player, was 8th in the country last year in steals. He's going to really change the game for us on both ends. He has actually graduated. I'm giving you a scoop. The grades hadn't posted yet. We're putting a little pressure on the professors from Georgia Southern. We said post those grades. But he has actually gotten all his work done, so we're waiting for that to post so that he can officially be a part of the program as well. And then last but definitely not least, a Birmingham native, grew up in Homewood, graduated from Hoover High, transferred in here from Clemson, a young man named Trey Jemison. 7 foot, about 250 pound body, a little bit like yours, about 3% body fat. He's extremely long. His presence on both ends of the court are going to be make a huge difference for us from day one. He also, a little bit like me and you, I think he comes in with like 72 hours at a 3.5 and something like engineering. So yeah. I'm not sure he's going to be able to understand what I'm saying. Right. Because his intellect is so much higher than mine, but we'll try to work through that as we get him. So 8 new guys, 5 returners. We're excited to get started.
Yeah, I just hope we've got a uniform big enough for Trey.
Well, we're going to have to definitely size up.
Have to add some length to the shirt. Well, that's exciting, and I know that you're excited to have them here. They finally got on campus, and so tell everybody the rules allow you to start practice on Monday. That's right?
Yeah. It's limited, but at the same time, you have to understand half of these guys I had never met in person until this week when they got here. Everything we had done had been virtual from a recruiting standpoint. So I'm just excited to have them here. That the NCAA now allows us to work with them. We're going to be very cautious amidst all of this pandemic and not taking unnecessary risks. But I think it's going to be very beneficial for all of us just to kind of get to know one another, figure out what are the strengths and weaknesses of our personnel so we can devise a game plan accordingly. But we're going to have them over the next 3 or 4 weeks prior to the fall term starting where we can get some good work in.
Yeah, well, it's hard to get to know each other through a mask sometimes, but you guys I know will do a great job with it. And I know it's just great to see them back. I've seen them kind of wandering around outside of Bartow, and I know they're excited to get into the gym. And so how many hours a week can you work with them, and how many hours a day?
We can do 8 hours a week for being on court activity. So they can do some strength and conditioning stuff for the other 4 hours, but 4 hours with us as coaches on the court. So typically, and you know this, but typically for our fans, kids would come in the summer and they would be taking some summer school classes. So the academic component would be there. But because of these strange days, there is no academic component. So it's kind of like going to, a training camp where the guys can come in and it's going to be all basketball. And again, it gives us the opportunity to spread it out a little bit. I'm going to try to touch them as much as possible just so that we can get comfortable with one another moving forward.
Yeah, and of course they can go and shoot on their own all that they want.
Exactly. And the facilities are open, and our training staff led by you have done a tremendous job in putting together a protocol for safety first for these young men, and we'll be diligent in that.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about safety, nationally, and it's funny, health and safety of the student athletes has always been our top priority. And that isn't new, but yeah, we've had to put in a lot of new layers of things that we have not done in the past to make sure that the spaces are ultra sanitary and that the kids, again, mask wearing and hand washing and things that we've just overemphasized and in a good way to make sure that we can keep them healthy and safe and ready to play and then of course get them in shape to play, physical shape. So
absolutely. You think about this. I mean, some of these guys haven't played 5-on-5 basketball since March. I mean,
I was going to ask you, can you talk about that at all? Like, has anybody, have those guys at home, have they been able to get practice in?
Fortunately for most of them, they have, because as states, most of them are from the Southeast. So as states have opened, they have had some access, but it's certainly not anything like the competition they're going to face day in and day out at a collegiate level. So And I know, again, that they're not going to be in prime time shape. That's why we're glad we've got some time just so that we can slow them into a routine and start trying to lay the foundation of who we want to be as a program.
Yeah, well, I know that you want to win a championship. We certainly support you in that, and we're all behind you. For the fans out there that are listening, we've already sold more season tickets, more new season tickets to fans that didn't have tickets last year than we did all of last year. We've more than double. So I know that the excitement from our fan base is there. Everybody's looking forward to getting inside Bartow Arena and watching you guys play and win a bunch of games.
Well, I'm excited too, Mark. I've got great love for this program and for the founder whose office I am humbly sitting in right now in Gene Bartow. And I know what the standard is. I was a part of that. Got a lot of sweat equity in this program, both as a player for Gene and as an assistant for Murray. A lot of love for this community. And I know what we're capable of being. Now I'm just excited to get my arms around the young men on our team and start putting the pieces together to figure out what is in our best interest as it relates to style of play and all the schematic things that you have to go through. But to your earlier point, my goal is to win and win now. And we feel like we have a roster that's going to give us an opportunity to do just that.
Yeah, no doubt. And you put together a great schedule. The fans I know are excited. And if you can talk about, you've got a big ACC matchup lined up for this year.
Yeah, we came in somewhat late. We're not like football where you schedule 3, 4, 5, 6 years down the road. But coming in at the end of March, we have 13 non-league games. I think there were 6 or 7 already contracted. So we didn't have as much wiggle room as we would have preferred. However, we try to be as creative as possible. We want to prepare our team. Our ultimate goal is to win Conference USA this year. So what do you do in November, December? You need to challenge your team, but you also need to find out a lot about your team in order to put yourself in the best position come league play. We do have Georgia Tech, the first ACC opponent since Carolina came in, I think in 2013, coming into Bartow Arena on December 23rd. Excited about that opportunity. We're opening up 2 non-league series, both on the road. As a matter of fact, my first game as the Blazer head coach will be on the road at Illinois State. We're doing a home and home. We inherited that part of it, but we're doing a home and home with them. Well, they'll return the following year. And then we scheduled a home and home with East Tennessee State. We're opening up in Johnson City. They'll return the following year. We've got Chattanooga coming to town. We've got Troy coming to town. We're going to Kentucky. And for the following year, we're close to signing some contracts with a number of Power 5 opponents that'll be making their way to Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah, it's exciting. And, our fans are so ready to see us play those kind of games. And I appreciate you and your staff's hard work in putting those together. All right, so we're going to switch off of basketball here. And I tell the truth. Have you seen the Tiger King?
Yeah, I've watched. I'm a binge watcher. I was about 2-3 years late from Breaking Bad, and I was like, "What's this Breaking Bad? What's going on?" And then I just kind of binge watched all the way through. I did the same with Tiger King. I binged. It was only like 8 episodes, but yeah,
Crazy.
Yeah, crazy for sure. I think I've recruited in some of those parks they were in a couple times.
You might have. All right, what else? You and your wife, and you got your girls at home? Are the girls at home?
No, my oldest, who just graduated with her MBA in Sanford in May, she has her own place in Homewood, so she comes back and forth. And then my youngest was home
to do laundry and that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And get a free meal here and there. And then my youngest, who was at Auburn, came home, and she was with us for a while, but now she's doing an internship at Oxford, and thank God for that. We'd had all the family time we could.
You love them, but
that's right.
Right. Well, that's great. Any parting thoughts for the fans, Coach? Anything you want to share as we close out?
No, I know this is strange days, and we're all going through things that we couldn't even have imagined a few months ago. But I know I can speak for Mark, and we're excited to get the UAB family back together in some form or fashion, and I hope it's sooner rather than later. Good Lord willing. Wear your mask. Let's get through this together, and I really look forward to locking arms with Mark and the UAB family and really pushing this program forward.
Yeah, well, it's exciting to hear, Coach, and we all feel that way. And I can assure all of our fans we're working hard to get ourselves back on the field and on the court as soon as possible, and still plan on playing in the fall as scheduled. And we'll see how that goes. But as we sit here today, that's certainly still the plan. And we're excited about that. I want to take the opportunity to thank all of our nurses and our doctors and everybody on the front line of this thing.
Absolutely.
They're helping us every day and putting themselves in harm's way and keeping the rest of us safe. So yeah, everybody keep wearing your mask and washing your hands and do everything we're asked to do so we can get back together sooner than later. And with that, we'll sign off. And thanks again for everybody for all your support. You can get your season tickets now for football and men's basketball, and you can get a gold pass for all of our Olympic sports by calling the ticket office and make those orders today. And thanks so much, everybody. Go Blazers.
Thanks, Mark. Go Blazers.
Go Blazers.
Thanks, Mark. Go Blazers.